So we'll now move down to a younger category. We've gone through all the old MFs, and now we'll move into surfers, awarded to 4 individuals who have achieved prominence in the highly respected surfer community, and as a highly respected surfer, competitive or non-competitive, in the surfing community, regionally, nationally, or internationally. All of these 4 are staunch competitors. The East Coast Surfing Hall of Fame is proud to induct Florida's Falina Spires. Falina grew up in Ormond Beach, Florida, and started surfing at 16 at her home break, Granada. Spires attended Seabreeze High School, where she was an active member of the school surf team, where she won virtually every contest offered to the high school team. She established her home break at Flagler Pier after that because it was uncrowded, and 4-time women's world champion Frida Zamba surfed there. The two became friends, and Zamba hooked her up with Hope Surfboards as her first local surfboard sponsor. Falina credits Frida's radical innovations in women's surfing as being her role model and motivator in pushing her own legacy. Falina represented the USA at 2 ISA World events, coached by East Coast Surfing Hall of Fame members Bruce Walker and Kevin Grondin. In 1992, her 5th place in the women's division contributed enough points to Team USA to take home the world title. Spires made her pro surfing debut at Sebastian Inlet in 1994, where she placed 2nd to her mentor, Frida Zamba. She soon was sponsored by WRV Surfboards from Virginia Beach and established a working relationship with East Coast Surfing Hall of Fame shaper and surfer Jesse Fernandez. Spires competed on the ASPQS circuit, taking her worldwide as a professional for over 15 years. She placed consistently high with wins in several events, and she was featured in prominent surf magazine articles with vivid action photos of her ripping. Today, Spires lives in Australia's Sunshine Coast and surfs every day. She stands out as one of the East Coast's finest female competitors and one of the best East Coast women surfers during her era. Ladies and gentlemen, Falina Spires.
I'm a bit shy. Hello, everybody. I'm a little bit jet lagged, but thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here. It's an honor. I can't believe I actually am inducted. It's so good. I'd just like to start off with a little story. Basically, I moved from Jacksonville at 15, and I went to Seabreeze High School. Went to the cafeteria one day because I was clueless, had no friends at 15. You're like, whoa, where do I go? I went to lunch. The cafeteria, which is not cool to go to back in the day. I don't know if it is now. And I saw this chick with long blonde hair. I was like, she's a surfer for sure. And I heard of Frida Zamba and her younger sister, Leslie Zamba. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to meet Leslie. Then I can meet her sister and hang out. And it was my best friend for life right there, Shelly Rossmeyer. And she thought I was Leslie. We were in the cafeteria, we looked around and we went, there's no one here, what do we do? Needless to say, we were allowed to leave at Seabreeze High School and go out to lunch or go surfing or do anything you wanted. So here we are today. Thanks for the hotel, Shelly. And I would also like to thank my sponsors and start off with the importance, I think, of surfboards, being a professional athlete in surfing, and coming up kids in ESA as well. The sponsors, the support, the ESA All-Star team, and everything that I was on and off for 5 or 6 years, or mostly consecutive. I think it's very important to have that support, not just from your family, if you're lucky enough to have that, but from outsiders as well. Because sometimes you think your family is just like, oh, you're great, and you may not believe it so much, but when other people stand behind you, support you, sponsor you, and I just think it's amazing and it's well needed. My longest standing sponsor, and one of the most important ones, even though it wasn't my highest paying, was WRV. up from Virginia all the way to Hawaii these days with Jesse Fernandez is my favorite man and shaper. He was not here tonight, unfortunately. I haven't seen him in like 15 years. Yeah, I think it's important. I think it's great how the surfboards have come along and changed. The innovation, the materials, the technology, the shapers, the way everything's changing, and it's changing at such a fast pace. It's absolutely amazing to see the surfing today that everyone's doing. As far as ESA goes, that's where I started my first contest. I actually got second in. The first time I stepped on a surfboard, about a year before that, I was like, I'm going to be a professional surfer one day. And that was it. That's where I was sold, just by stepping on the board. And then I was like, oh, I want to do contests. I need to do contests. How can I do it? So I'd ask all the guys, am I good enough to do contests yet? Just at Granada, my local boys, am I good enough? They're like, all chicks suck. You should just join anyway. You'll win. And I was like, shut up. I was like, okay, fine. And they're like, no, you'll probably do all right. You'll probably get last or second to last. Anyway, so I got second. They loved me, tortured me, and yeah, inspired me as well. They'd be like, how did you do that turn? Logan, Andrew, how did you do that? They're like, just watch me and learn. And I'm like, okay, because they were all older, and I thought they were cool and cute. So I was like, yeah. So I did that. But what I'm saying basically is I feel honored to have been well looked after, taken care of, and yeah, you know, the picking on makes you a bit resilient as well. And yeah, the guys shared all the ways with me, and they taught me stuff, and they told me that, yeah, I'd kill it one day, and eventually I should, you know, that I'd be pro. So I had a lot of support from family, friends, and sponsors. I'd like to mention a couple of my sponsors that stand out in my mind as well. Other than WRV, I surf for Gary Linden, Local Motion for a minute, Charlie Baldwin. CB was a good man as well to me. And his daughter, one of his daughters went on tour, and we hung out for a bit. 11 as well, which was a short-term great sponsor that blew up and then just disappeared. But it was a good time, and they sponsored heaps of events as well. Body Glove Wetsuits, O'Neill through ESA, Bolay, and Jinko, an active jean lifestyle wear as well from LA. Let's see, really quick here. I think the surfing actually probably had one of the hugest impacts on my life. Once I started competing and traveling, I kind of think of it now as like my surfboard was a magic carpet. And I was like, I just want to be a pro surfer, and I want to get out of Florida and surf the best waves I could possibly find. There was no search for girls or nothing like that at the time, and I was really competitive in other sports. So when I moved down to Daytona at 15 from Jacksonville in the big city, I started surfing, and that was it. I was like, I want my magic carpet to take me all over the world, and it did. I've had so many boards, and I've been to probably 50 different countries for probably the past 25 years of my life. And I was actually even allowed to do some of the ASP East events and a lot of the East Coast Pro-Am events, and I got to do one guy's event because no one said that I couldn't do it. Down in Barbados, they let me surf in the men's. Because the guys were like, yeah, whatever, chicks can, yeah, I don't care, she comes in the event. Anyway, I made it through 2 heats. So that was really good for me. I was excited. Yeah, and the guys never let me live that down. I never let them live that down, the couple that I beat here and there. But yeah, what else should I say? I'd like to thank my partner, yeah, for the past 10 years of adventures, fun, and surfing. And I'd also like to thank my sponsors for the past support and everything as well. And let's see, where am I? Sorry, I can't see, the lights are really bright. Yeah, I've always tried to do my best to make everyone proud of me and to help people around me, and I think that's an important goal as well. ESA gave me so much support back in the day. I always loved judging. When they'd ask me to judge as an amateur, I would always jump in and judge, and I think judging also helps you to become a better surfer because you learn to understand where you need to do the turns and how to gauge and judge everyone else as well in competition, and I think that helps you become a better surfer as well. I liked my peers on the ASP and QS that I always looked up to. Some of my top favorite surfers and best friends were like Prue Jeffries and Pauline Menser. I mostly hung out with the Australians because there wasn't any Florida girls at the time. But as far as Americans go, I had the best coaches like Jimmy Cheeseman out in California, who I used to stay and train with out that way. And then Margie Rigby, I would stay with Kim Hemrock and Marty Hemrock, their whole family, everyone that always supported me, and I looked up to them as well because they're a bit older and I thought they ripped harder than I did. So it was good to hang out with people that push you, you know. Let's see. I would like to thank my mom and dad, first of all, for having me. Second off, for putting up with me. And I'd like to thank God as well for looking after me in my many travels and being there for me when I've needed him. And thank you guys for coming tonight.